Get her close to the pinhole, and then we'll pick the bows up and get them to the pinhole.
Good morning, everyone. I hope that the audio is coming in good and clear today, and what a difference a day makes. You're on the Minorcan Mullet channel, and we are live.
Yeah, I'll probably go around the island there, since there's a couple of shallow spots.
From Baltimore. While we've been setting up this morning, we have seen some more cutting taking up to cut this piece away. We were anticipating the controlled demolition of the span that's still resting on the Dali. However, we see crews there in a man lift. It looks like they're still working on the charges. Looks like the weather may have played a part in a delay. That scheduled detonation has now been moved back till tomorrow afternoon. We're planning on being here for that, guys, to bring it to you live. But we see personnel up in a basket there in one of those aerial lifts working. Again, it looks like they are probably working on charges there. The Dali still remains here, blocking the port of Baltimore, along with the debris from the former Francis Scott Key Bridge, now laying in the bottom of the channel. This looks like it's going to be another one of those days like we had a couple days ago, where there was just so much action going on the site, we didn't know where to focus the camera. Guys, thanks for joining us here. I know we're a little early. I've been going with starting around 10 o'clock, but I'm glad we got a little bit of on the day, because it looks like the crews are out and they're anxious to get a few things taken care of today. Nana, good morning. Tomahawk, great to see you guys in here today. And it is a much more pleasant work site today than what we saw yesterday, or what I should I say, what we couldn't see yesterday. From the rain and the fog that was in the area yesterday, conditions just were deplorable. But it looks like everybody is back on track here today. I know we're getting a little bit of an early start for you early risers here to the channel. Good morning and welcome. Again, we are here live at the site, looking at some already ongoing activities here. We've seen what looks like some cutting going on this span of bridge. Now this is off the main pier that is on the north or the east side of the site. This is the opposite pier from where the ship hit, main support pier. And we can see personnel in a basket there. We've seen them cutting earlier. It looks like they have moved one of the cranes over into that position. May see a lift there today. You can kind of see that going on. And then over here on the span where we're hoping to see demolition take place now, scheduled for tomorrow, crews are up on a man lift working there, and it looks like they're setting more charges. That's what it looks like to us. we can kind of tell those areas where they're going to do that detonation, because it's like a dark band. I don't know if that's dark green, dark black, or something like that. But you can see on the opposite span from where they're up on that basket, a couple areas where it looks like they have placed some charges, getting ready to bring that span down. Hopefully that is, from what we understand, now scheduled for tomorrow, Sunday afternoon, on Mother's Day weekend here. But we hope to be here and be able to bring that to you guys live when it happens. Now there's one thing about Baltimore, I will tell you, the weather can certainly keep you guessing. We wake up this morning and it is a beautiful spring morning here in Maryland. Yesterday it felt like winter in South Georgia. I don't think you can really tell if the weather's made up of its mind whether it's ready to make that transition or not here. We can see those guys clearly there in that basket working on that piece of the span. And then we go back over here. We got stuff going on here as well. We've heard traffic with crews talking about moving barges, repositioning equipment. There's a lot going on. Even the Dale Pyatt, it looks like they are repositioning that barge as we speak.
Let's finish that port there, shall we?
The more we look here today, it seems like the more we see. $1,200 of you here this morning. Thanks for joining us. We're live in Baltimore. Welcome to the Minorcan Mullet channel if you're just joining us. We're just kind of scanning around the site this morning. We're a little ahead of schedule. We were planning on being on at 10 in the morning. We got set up. There was so much going on. I said I owe it to the Minorcan Navy to get on the channel early so I can start showing you guys what's going on. Thank you, Tiger, for being here. You guys, Tiger is moderating the chat today. Couldn't do this, couldn't do what we do without him.
All that expansion joint and shit there. Wow, I think they're going on low barges.
Good morning, Chrome. Good morning, Gorilla.
I want to move forward a little bit, but we'll move over by abutment first. Move up so we can paddle.
I've had some questions about what are spuds. I'm hoping to be able to give you guys a good demonstration if they are in fact repositioning the Dale Pyatt. We'll see the spuds in action. The spuds are those big vertical steel poles coming up from the barge, and they serve to anchor the dredge in place. Now when they get where they want to go, we'll see those spuds go down, and basically what they do is serve as pilings that the dredge will kind of float on. Eric, yes, there are still crewmen. All of the crew are still on the Dali, and that's where you want them, and you want those guys on the ship. And let me tell you why. That group of people that are there are familiar with the ship's systems. They know where everything is. They know where all the buttons, bells, and switches are. That's the group you'll want on the ship. Of course, the Dale Pyatt is part of that Cashman dredge operation. That bucket you see hanging from that little short, stout boom is a 60-yard clamshell. 60 yards, guys. Uh, for those of you that are familiar with dump trucks you may see moving dirt up and down the street, one bucket of this will probably fill up 5 or 6 of those. Thanks, Tiger. Yeah, we did open up the memberships, and you guys that have been asking, it's now official. We're still tweaking on that. I just sitting down and trying to figure out a lot of that stuff. I got so much stuff going on here in Maryland, it's difficult for me to manage my time. My biggest priority is to be able to bring you guys live streams from the site, and be able to show you guys and talk to you a little bit about what we're seeing going on. Right now we're watching the Dale Pyatt dredge barge, and it looks like they are repositioning the barge. We'll know that if in fact that's what they're doing. If we see those 3 vertical poles that are coming out of the barge, if we see those drop back down, we know that they're spudding off and that's where they want to be. So we're watching to see what happens here. We've still got activity going on over on the spans. First of all, this span, when we first got in here today, they were up here doing some cutting. It looks like they have moved a crane into position. We can see personnel working off of one of the man baskets there, one of the man lifts, directly under that boom. If you've got a device big enough, I'm sure you can see them. And then when we go over to the span, we're going to keep an eye on that for you, and hopefully be able to bring you that activity when it happens tomorrow. Back again, continually feeding the beast. Guys, thanks for being a part of the Minorcan Navy and being here with us live from Baltimore. From the start we had yesterday to the start we've had today, it's about a 110% improvement in the weather condition. Well, what's new in Baltimore? Well, we'll tell you, we've got personnel and man lifts. We've got some working here, and now this is a span that they are controlled demolition charges to cut it up. And then over here, we have personnel that are up on a basket. We've seen torching going on, seen a lot of sparks coming out of this area. When we first got on site this morning, it looks like they have moved a crane over, and there is a man lift basket that's operational there. So we're thinking we may see another piece of this span get cut and swung off and over onto a barge. Brenner, good morning. Germany in the house with us today. What an awesome thing. We got this global audience here with us, and it is awesome to see you guys in here again this morning. I see we're having a little bit of a little bit of nervousness in the chat this morning. Guys, we're going to remind you, this isn't a political forum. You want to do that, go find a political forum. This isn't one. We're here concentrating on the stuff that's going on at and around the Francis Scott Key Bridge collapse site. That's what we do. There's a place for that kind of discussion. This is not it. And if you get in here and start bouncing around, you're going to get bounced out. Good morning, Ralph. Ralph has joined in as a new member of the Minorcan Navy. Guys, this is something we added last night. If you're interested and want to help out, we've now made that possible, and we're going to expand the membership opportunities and levels. It looks like those guys may be up in that basket now, maybe getting up to that rigging that's coming down off the crane. Guys, bear with me here just a second. Let's see what that looks like. If you guys are able to see the adjustment, you're going to see a little. We're going to try to bring the camera in here a little bit and see what you guys think here. Well, Lone Wolf, let me tell you, the weather was horrible yesterday here. I think it slowed down the work that was necessary for the demolition to take place today. I don't think the guys were able to get up and do what they needed to do. So they had to postpone it. Looks like to us, we're going to pan away from here just a second, show you guys. They're working. They got the man lift up over there, and they are working on it right now. We got all this going on here today. The Dali still here in play, waiting to get freed from that big piece of the bridge span that's still laying across the bow. Now guys, keep in mind, there's also still 4 lanes of interstate highway laying across the bow of the ship as well. I don't expect to see the ship released from where it is and taken immediately into port. To me, I think the thing to do would be to pull the ship back, re-anchor it, let crews continue to work with the assets they have on site to break up that remaining 4 lanes of roadway that's on the ship, and then get it off where they can transport over to Trade Point Atlantic over at Sparrows Point. The logistics of doing that seems like it'd be much easier from this position rather than taking it into port and trying to work around cranes, fix cranes that are at the port and that kind of thing. John, thank you very much. How many degrees north is Cumberland? I'm going to say Cumberland is about 30 degrees north. We are 31 degrees at St. Simon's Island. Cumberland is a bit south of us. Let's go 30. I'd say between 30 and 31. Gordy, I agree with you. They're earning every cent. And some of the stuff I've seen them doing, especially these guys up in the baskets that are working up here, I wouldn't go up there unless I went ahead and got that paycheck in advance. Yeah, I don't think supplying the crew with anything that they need is going to be an issue here in the Port of Baltimore. All the systems aboard the ship that they would need at sea, they still have. Any food that they need, I'm sure that they'll be able to get. But you certainly want to keep those guys on the ship. The guys that are familiar, the crew that is familiar with the ship, know the systems, know how they operate, know where the switches, the shutoffs, the valves, everything you might could imagine that you would need to operate a ship. Those guys have the immediate knowledge. Those are the guys that need to stay on the ship. Tim, thank you. Thank you so much. Down from St. Augustine, Florida. Down in Minorcan country. Good to have you with us. Thank you very much. Lewis, that's a good question. What about, and I'm hoping to figure out a way here to get Dr. Macagliano from What's Going On with Shipping. If you guys haven't checked out his channel, need to. He's forgotten more about shipping than most people will ever know. He is the go-to resource on YouTube for all things shipping. But I would like to ask him, considering now the insurance is involved on the shipping, and the owners have declared general average, what happens to the products that are on the ship? Does it become property of the salvers? Does it become property of the owners of the ship? I don't know. You know, maritime law is not as black and white as we would think it would be. There are a lot of different aspects of how maritime law operates versus maybe criminal code or civil code that we're used to in our regular day-to-day lives. So it's going to be interesting, very interesting to see how that works. I'm hoping to figure out how we can get Dr. Macagliano here with us. I think I've just about got it figured out. It's a question of getting with him and making it happen. Well, guys, we've got a special treat here. My good friend Alfred Montaner from the Chit Show down in Miami is here with us. Alfred, good morning. Welcome to the live stream.
Oh my goodness, I did not expect you to be live. But what a day to be live in Baltimore. My goodness, you guys are getting information faster than the news.
Well, I can tell you this, Alfred, the day we have today versus the day we woke up to yesterday is a 180-degree turnaround. The sun's shining, we've got a little light breeze, you know, a few clouds in the sky, but nothing like we had yesterday morning. And we're seeing teams are out here in 2 or 3 different locations working away. We're seeing guys already up in man baskets working away, doing some cutting and setting some charges. You know, the demolition has gotten moved back to Sunday. We're expecting that to happen actually this afternoon, but they postponed it till tomorrow. We're planning on being here, but a lot of stuff going on today at the chat. How things in Miami, my friend?
Good. So it's beautiful weather over here for Mother's Day weekend. So I actually am also going to be live, and I said, what better way to show them the boat ramp at the same time while streaming some of your footage out of Baltimore. But it looks like that's going to happen tomorrow now because of the delay. I think just watching them basically remove that from the Dali with those controlled explosions is just going to be something that I want to participate in, right?
Oh, absolutely. And we'd love to have you guys here with us. That would be awesome if we could get down there and be a part of that. I think we would love to do that.
Well, I'll tell you, from the time that we did our first initial live stream, Andy, till now, I was looking at the footage. The men and women that are working that salvage are doing a fantastic job. It's incredible how fast they've been able to clean that area up, and those men and women need they need some accolades after the fact because they're really doing everything possible to get that port of Baltimore open.
This place is suffering tremendously, and guys, if you guys that are here with us, if you guys will remember, the first trip I made to Baltimore a week after this accident occurred, Alfred Montaner came up, and he's been like a mentor to me, helping me. As a matter of fact, the new audio system that we are using now that everybody's raving about came from his production team down in Miami. They overnighted that to us. So Alfred, thank your team for everything they've done for us here at the channel, and certainly thank you for your time as well.
Well, I'll tell you this, I will be watching now that I know that you're live. I have to go ahead and give a huge shout out to Rob and Robin, who have allowed you to film on their property, right? That they're staying in, so they can get that unbelievable footage, because it is the best angle in the entire place, in the entire area, to show exactly what's going on. Because the story can be told from a distance without interrupting any of those workers. Even if you were on your boat, which you have there, you have the Minorcan Mullet in Baltimore, and you got a better angle at where you're at in Robbins. So if anybody along the way can do anything to help, well, it could be the smallest gesture. And if you guys don't know, I actually found Robin in the beginning, and I saw the need. I wanted to do everything possible to help, and I know you guys have supported Andy, and Andy has supported them, and they're extremely grateful.
Yeah.
So big shout out to them.
These people are super, and you know, when the accident originally occurred, Alfred, they were bombarded by media, and they the media kind of came in, you know, stomped all over their place, kind of jumbled the place up a little bit with no care or concern for what they were actually doing. We came in with a different approach, and that's the way, you know, we are, and that's something you taught me. You know, people are going to respond in different ways, but when you treat them right, and you know, showcase what's going on around them, they'll invite you back, and they have. Rob and Robin have been super, and we could
Super
not.
nice people. Super nice people.
There's no way we could be doing what we're doing here and bringing these images to YouTube without the assistance from them.
Super nice people. You know, the area is just fantastic to be able to tell the story, and I'm glad that they found the last worker. Which to have the footage that you had and you posted, and I'm glad you waited on posting that footage of the actual work truck that was on. That work truck was on a video, all viral on TikTok, and there was a bunch of people talking this and that. And when I saw your video, I said that's the same exact boat, the same exact truck that was on the bridge that I saw in Andy's video. So powerful. It gives a visualization of how much work needs to be done over there. So
absolutely,
incredible content. I think between this and the Golden Ray, I mean, what's next for Andy Jones from the Minorcan Mullet? I don't know. Smash that like, follow, subscribe. It's free. I don't know what to say other than I'm so happy for you because you've done a fantastic job with this series.
Well, thanks so much. And the only thing I can say is you know, just wait for it.
Wait for it. There you go. All right, guys. Well, listen, Andy. I'll be checking in on the stream now that I know that you're live, and who knows? Maybe while I'm live in the afternoon, filming the boat ramp, then maybe I can still show some footage if you're still live. Who knows? We'll see.
Let's see what we can do. Thanks, brother, and you take care. Be safe down there.
Thanks, Andy. Take care.
Guys, that was a treat having Alfred Montner in what I do. I wouldn't be here. We were hoping shot of what's going on here. Man basket still. It looks like they've dropped down. I don't think that these guys have put the slings on this piece of span, but it looks like they've dropped down. Maybe they're getting ready to start to cut there. Let's go over to our other span and take a look and see what's going on over there. We zoomed in here just a little bit, so hopefully the images comes in pretty clear for you guys. I know that when we zoom in like this, we sometimes degrade the image a little bit, but hopefully this is acceptable for you guys set right here. If the image is not good, let me know. We'll try to zoom back out. But we can see those guys right there, and if you look where they are, you can see another piece of that banding. So but what I'm thinking right here, what these guys are doing in this kind of cream colored and orange colored man lift are setting those charges. Hey Harvey, thanks for joining up. Viper is here with us, thank you. But as we see, we kind of see this kind of ongoing, and I think what they're doing right now, just the weather yesterday just stopped them from being able to do it. But that's what it looks like. They're working right in the area where those charges are being set. So maybe this is part of that demolition team that's up there setting those shape charges in place. Stealth Mode, thank you so much. Looks like we've gotten over 3,100 of you here with us this morning on the Saturday before Mother's Day. Guys, if your mom's still around, give her a call. Give her a call tomorrow. Give her a call today and tell her you're thinking about her. She'll appreciate that so much. We don't do it enough. I wish I could do it. Really do. But here today, live in Baltimore, I'm going to try to set this camera down just a little bit. I just really don't like this perspective without being able to see some of the water. I want you guys to be able to see some of that water. I hope that's a little better. Keep in mind, we're shooting this video from about 1.5 nautical miles away from the site. So as we watch, you guys are so awesome. Thank you so much for joining us here. This is going on with the demolition setup. Of course, that's been pushed back. We had to get out here and go live, though, on a good day to show you guys what's going on. The Dali still in position, and still what appears to be a trio of cranes over on the starboard side of the ship working that area of the collapse, recovering some of that material that's still over on that side of the ship. The big white boom that we can see kind of over the stack, you can see the block of that, that's the Weeks 533 crane on site. Then we've got out at the site. And then we see these guys still working on, and it looks, I keep trying to see if we can see some sparks coming from this area where they're working. I can see the man basket under that piece, and I think that's what they're doing in there. We'll stay here with them for a little bit and see if we can actually see maybe some cutting going on there. Chris, thanks for joining. Thank you guys so much. Teresa, good morning. It is great to have you and Tiger here with us in the chat. You guys, if you haven't said thanks to these people, Teresa and Tiger, for everything they do for us and for you, be sure to let them know that you appreciate their efforts and what they're doing. I certainly could not do what I'm doing here today if it wasn't for them.
For down where we gotta go with.
All right, so we got reports now. People can see some sparks going on. So what we're thinking here is they're cutting, and it looks like they do have some of those straps around that piece. So if we stay here with them, we'll probably see a piece of this getting separated here today. Yeah, Thomas, the crew on the Dali are still there. We talked about this a couple times already. They're still in place, and those are the people you want. You want those people in place on the ship because they're familiar with the systems. They know where all the buttons are. They know where all the switches are. You want those people who are familiar with the operation of the ship, maintaining the ship while they're going through this process of trying to free it. Kelly, good morning. Thank you. And I don't think the crew will be in any danger at all when they execute the demolition plan now scheduled for tomorrow afternoon. Those guys will be back out of the way, and those charges are set to just really cut the metal where they're set. And it's not going to be a big mushroom cloud of crazy explosion. These are going to be very controlled, very precise cuts that are made when that span's separated.
Go ahead or back so I can kind of set up for it.
They're saying it's probably going to be around low tide tomorrow. Low tide is about 6 or so. We're planning on being here. Yeah, Dave, you're exactly right. You know, could you imagine how bitter this would be if they were out having to execute this plan in the winter here in Baltimore? That would have been a challenge. Now, we couldn't see it here last night, but the solar flares put on one heck of a light show all over the southeastern part of the country. And I had the opportunity to see some of that. And it was pretty fascinating. I know some of you guys weren't able to see any of the stuff that went on with the flare last night. But we'll take a quick gander right here and maybe be able to see a little bit of the light show. Sometimes technology works and sometimes it doesn't. Well, we'll get back and we'll try to show you guys some of what was going on last night. I was unable to see it here in Baltimore. Rain last night. It rained a lot. But the day has broken full of sunshine.
Nobody give him another Red Bull.
see what this image looks like here. This is, images here are from the light show last night down in South Georgia. The Northern Lights made the trip down south, and some folks sent these to us this morning. They knew I was missing home, and I'm sorry I missed all that. We don't usually get those kind of light shows at all. And I think a lot of that was done with through photographic imagery. People that had camera phones out caught some pretty amazing images last night. A lot of them being shared on social media today. No boom, boom, bang, bang today. It's been put off until tomorrow afternoon. We're watching crews work at the site today. We've seen some cutting taking place in this area. This is the span that is opposite of the Dali, from where the Dali struck the other span. This is that opposite side, and they're working on this piece of the bridge, cutting away. We think they're going to lift that section. We're going to go over. This is a section that they are planning on executing the controlled demolition. And we've seen a man lift up there working. If you look down about midway, you can see those guys there working on the site. Good morning and welcome to Baltimore. We are live at the site. We went live a little bit earlier. We were thinking we'd get off and up and running by 10 o'clock. There was a lot going on. We got set up, and I said, you know, we got to get this out. You guys have shown such tremendous interest in what we're doing and what's going on here in Baltimore. When we see a lot of activity going on, we want to try to include you guys with the Minorcan Navy. Yeah, I would imagine there's quite a bit of acetylene and oxygen being transported out to the site. Just the sheer size of the torches that they're using look like they have a pretty high consumption rate. And they're cutting, keep in mind, they're cutting through plate that's 1 inch, 2 inches thick. Mark, good morning. Thanks for getting back here with us. Glad you're reporting for duty. Now get up to the poop deck. We see these guys are working in those areas, placing the charges. This looks like it's going to be a lift that's going on very soon. It looks like they're getting the rigging strapped. And we've seen some cutting. And when we first got on site at Robbins this morning, we could see the guys up doing some cutting before the crane was even in position. So they've been working on this already this morning. We're hoping to see another piece of this span get separated and moved over to the barge. 2,800 of you now here with us. Thanks for being here this morning. You know, sometimes when you look at this, you realize it's not just as simple as just running out there and cutting something. There's a lot of coordination that has to go in with lifting these pieces and getting them cut. And understanding the size of what the material is these guys are dealing with is indeed another interesting aspect of the operation. This material is huge. You know, Ron, I'm not sure. I'm sure I want to follow along with the progress of the bridge, and I think it would be a very interesting aspect. I don't know. It's certainly. I'm vested in the area now. This story is really put me into a mode of interest. Of course, it's kind of the whole shipping aspect, and that thing is of huge interest to me. That started really after the Golden Ray accident down in Georgia. I don't know. Let's see what happens with the bridge. It looks like they've gotten a good bit of that rigging now attached. It looks like they've added some tension to it, and I can definitely make out four pieces of rigging going down to that section that's there. noticing just a little bit of buffering going on, guys. We're working on that, trying to get that straightened out. It's not you, it's me. Definitely me today. No, we're not going to have the demolition that was originally scheduled for tonight and has been pushed back till tomorrow evening. We're planning on being here. I don't know if I can get my volume up any higher here or not. I will check and see. Not all we can do here. Guys, what we're expecting tomorrow for, they've said it's going to occur at or around low tide. Low tide for the area tomorrow is about 6:10, 6:15 tomorrow. They haven't said exactly a time, not from what I've heard. We're going to be here though, and try to bring it to you live. It may happen a little bit earlier. $2,500 of you here with us. Good morning. We're live. Just to give you guys an update of what we're watching, we have seen some cutting taking place on this span. They have it rigged and attached to the crane. And then over at the other span, there's a man lift up there where it looks to be crews setting those demolition charges into place. Ship is still here. And it looks like they have 4 cranes now, and they look like they're actively working on some kind of lift over on the starboard side of the ship. Definitely see one of the cranes, one of the booms operating, booming up. Can't see what they're doing. You may be able, for you savvy guys, you may be able to get over to Stream Time Live and see what their stream looks like, and may be able to see what's going on over there. Originally, this morning, I thought there were just 3 cranes, big cranes over there. I can definitely make out four booms sticking up on that starboard side of the ship.
With the back forward problem.
Thank you guys so much for joining us here today, live from Baltimore. A little different today. We were planning on seeing some demolition taking place this afternoon. That demolition has been pushed back to tomorrow afternoon. We're planning on being here and bringing it to you. You guys that have been in here this morning and giving us a thumbs up, thank you so much. If you're in here and haven't done it, hit it for us. And I know that Tiger's been telling you guys that we're hoping to get our subscription numbers up, and when we detonate or watch the detonation take place, you guys that have been in the chat, if you're not subscribed to the channel, you're not going to be actively able to participate in the chat. We want our people who have been with us, who have subscribed to the channel, to be able to engage in that. We're expecting a lot of people in the stream when we do that tomorrow. Zero, I'm not sure when full moon is. You know, we could take a look at that and see. And we have a better idea of when the full moon is. Full moon is on the 23rd of this month. So it's building, waxing. Kenneth, thanks for joining us. Thank you, Tiger. So if you're in here and want to be involved in the chat here, you need to subscribe to the channel. Thanks, Tiger. Now, I wish I could get my drone up and send it over there, but we're still currently in that TFR, out 2 nautical miles and up to 1,500 feet. So we are grounded. The Minorcan Air Force is grounded until further notice. We do have the opportunity sometimes when we're on the boat to get outside, right outside of the TFR, and we'll put the drone up and just be able to kind of zoom in and take a look at the site a little bit so you guys can understand the layout and get a little bit of a bird's eye view. But even getting it off the deck here is a no-no. And we don't want to antagonize those authority members of the FAA. Mark, you're exactly right. I think that's the weather yesterday, guys. If you stopped in for a little bit and tried to watch the channel and tried to look through that fog and rain, I think everybody that did pretty much understood that there was going to be a delay. I think we were all just waiting, actually just waiting for them. When I got up yesterday morning and saw what this place looked like out here, I didn't think they were going to make it, and I don't think anybody that was watching the stream actually really, you might have been wishing it, but I didn't think that people thought they were going to be able to get it done today. The weather was just wretched here.
feet. Hold on a second.
Hopefully they're able to get whatever work it is done today. And then the weather window opens up enough tomorrow that they can get it done. You know, there is a van that's still parked up on that span. It looks familiar to me. It looks like a government van, but it's still up there. Fez, man, that is amazing because it was, at times yesterday, we could barely make out the outline of the ship. But then it would break, and it would be nice for a few minutes. Well, I say nice, it was relatively nice enough for us to get a view of the ship and be able to make out color on the containers and that kind of thing, and then it would go away. And you could see the rain coming. You could see that. Keep in mind, we're a mile and a half away. We could see the rain coming from the ship back towards us, and a few minutes later it would hit.
When they hit that rebar.
Thanks everybody for joining us here today. I know you guys are investing a lot of time with us. We certainly appreciate it, and we're trying our best to give you the best possible images and audio we can from the site, and just talking about what we see and what's going on here.
We'll keep that little distance.
Russell, thank you. Thanks for joining. Now, when we look at this section of the bridge, this span where these demolitions are being placed, and you can see there's a lot of containers that are kind of being held in place by that span. When the span does are detonated, I just can't help but to think there's a good portion of this material, these containers, that are being kind of pinned onto the ship by the weight of the span, are simply going to just fall over. think everybody is anticipating that to happen. We're gonna go back over and try to see what's going on here. We haven't been able to make out it looks like maybe they've taken the man lift down. I'm not seeing the man lift back in position. Oh, maybe it's down low, guys. I think I do see the guys. There's a diagonal beam coming across the second diagonal or third diagonal down below. And I think I make out the basket there. Maybe they're cutting there. You guys probably, hey John, thanks so much. You guys that are watching probably have a better image at home than what I'm looking at. Thanks, Joseph. Joseph's telling us that, yeah, they're cutting that lower column. I can make out on the man lift an amber flashing light that's on the deck of the barge. So that tells me it's operational. That tells me that the man working. It's gotten so bright out here today that it gets difficult to see the actual cutting, the sparks. From the torches. We did see them earlier in the morning. I'm just not seeing them now. Okay, Kyle's telling us that he can see the sparks fine. So they're cutting. Maybe we'll see that section get separated here a little bit. Now, we did see the Dale Pyatt dredge barge. It was motored out of here. They got tugboats on it, and it left. We thought they may have been repositioning it. It looks like they repositioned it probably over towards Sparrows Point. Let's take a look and see where it ended up. If you guys have not had the opportunity yet to take a look at Marine Traffic, excuse me. Marine Traffic is a pretty good resource for understanding what is in place around the site. We'll pull it up here and just kind of take a quick look. Over at Trade Point, we can see that Chesapeake 1000 is still in place there. A couple of the other Don John assets, Oyster Bay, Delaware Bay, the Farrell, those cranes are over at Trade Point. And then right over in this area, we see they've got the Dale Pyatt now. It left, and this is where they're unloading the material. This area is where they're unloading all that material over at Trade Point. So Dale Pyatt's gone over. We know that we saw them rustling some pretty large pieces of steel. They're probably in the process of unloading everything that they picked up there yesterday. Let's see if we have an image here of this. No image available. That's what's neat is when you use this app, you can pull up and they'll have some images here of the vessel that's being used. Some of these assets that you'll see are small boats, and some are tugboats. But it's an interesting app to kind of go through, and you can certainly understand the positioning of those assets around the Dali. I don't know why we're not being able. Looks like the audio is coming through. If it's something going on, check your device. You might have to refresh it on your end.
Down be probably the easiest thing. Alrighty. No, I think I'm good, Eric. Thank you.
Edgar, check it. You may want to refresh your browser. We can see some of the other assets that are still in place in the port. You know, some of these vessels were able to leave, and some are still in here. But it's a great asset to have. Again, Marine Traffic app. If you haven't, get it. $2,400 of you here with us this morning, live in Baltimore. We're still watching crews in the process of cutting another piece of the span. This is the pier that is opposite. This is one of the major support piers, but this is the one that is opposite from the one the Dali struck. Go back over. That pier is over just off right at the starboard bow of the Dali. Things continue. 2,500 of you guys in here with us. Thank you so much. I don't have the opportunity to refresh my browser as often as I should. I got so much going on here with you guys. There's a lot of activity going on, a lot of specialized activity. The guys that are in this man lift right here, we're pretty sure are working on those demolition charges. We're hoping to see that demolition now scheduled for tomorrow afternoon. We'll be here. We don't want to miss it. Weather yesterday was horrible here on the site. I mean, really nasty. Those of you that stopped in to visit with us yesterday, what a difference, huh? What a difference a day makes. Well, you guys that are over on Streamtime Live, Streamtime does a tremendous job. You know, their stream is up, and that's the stream that had the actual collision. You know, that camera caught the time the Dali struck the bridge and the bridge came down. That stream is still up, and that is, guys, that's a tremendous feat to keep a live stream going the way that channel's done, and my hat's off to them. It's difficult enough for me to try to get a live stream together for 3 or 4 hours. All the logistics of trying to keep a stream going. It's not just a set and forget, guys. I can promise you that. But for you guys that are there and watching the stream time now, are you able to see what's going on over on the starboard side with those cranes? And if you are, let us know in the chat. Right now, we are concentrating on the activity that's taking place here on this section of the bridge span opposite from the support pillar that was struck by the ship. We know that they've been cutting here this morning. They have strapped a big section of it, and they're continuing to cut. So hopefully we'll see.
Come back with that. For Dominic.
See the separation here soon. We're going to stay here and hopefully be able to bring it to you guys live. Hey, Wolf. Okay, thanks.
Go to Bear Creek. We're gonna go get fuel for our boat.
Okay, thanks, Timmy. You guys appreciate the report. Something's going on over there because we can see the tops of those booms on those cranes. We're going to pan over there again just to show you guys what we can see are these cranes right here working, and we've seen them being boomed up, boomed down, and I'm not sure what they're lifting on that side. We can't see on the other side of the ship, but they're working over there, working on something. Something is going on over there. From what it sounds like, the stream time camera is zoomed out a little bit, and it's hard to make out what's going on there. And I get that. I understand. Team still up on the man lift here, working on placement of those shaped charges used to cut this span, hopefully now scheduled for tomorrow afternoon. This is what we've been focused on going on right here today. We're expecting to see a pretty good size of this piece separated. Yeah, keep in mind, guys, there's still 4 lanes of interstate highway laying across the bow. Even when the span gets cut, there's still going to be that road, the road surface, the bed of the road, still going to be up there on the ship. We're showing about 10 minutes after 11. So we're coming up close, next 20 minutes or so, from 25 minutes maybe from 2 hours of the live stream. Guys, thanks for joining us here live from Baltimore. We'll remind everybody that's here that tomorrow is Mother's Day. If you guys have the opportunity, if Mom's still around, be sure to let her know you appreciate everything she's done for you. In whatever way you choose to do that, just let her know. Sometimes just a phone call. Is really all she's expecting. Yeah, mine is gone as well. Wish so much that I had the opportunity to pick up the phone and give her a ring. Many times, many times. Tara, good morning. Great to have you here with us. One of our Minorcan Navy members that helps keep us informed. She was the first one to notify us yesterday that the demolition had been pushed back. Thank you. Thank you for doing that. And we've worked to get the word out, and we're still getting the word out. The demolition is not going to take place today. They've moved it back. Weather delay, of course, from yesterday, pushed it back to getting that work done today. Hopefully, it's executed tomorrow. In this view, I can see the boom coming up from the man lift, but that one beam that's there is kind of blocking us. It's hard to see the cutting, and we've had some of you guys here in the chat that said, yeah, I can see some sparks. It's a lot more difficult for me to see details. I'm sure you guys have a better resolution on your end. Hopefully you guys do. Lenny, thanks you so much. I think one thing about younger people and parents is, most younger people think they're bulletproof, and they're going to be the thought of termination is just not there, and that's good when you're young. But trust me,
Some PD, I got some over here if you need it.
it's coming. Take advantage of any opportunity you have to let your mom know how much you care about her and you appreciate what she's done for you.
This in here, we can slide back if we have to. I'm sorry. All right, boss. Moisturing again.
Now I'm trying to concentrate on that column, the more vertical of the two that's coming down from underneath the crane, And I want to say I just saw a little bit of spark. I think I saw on my monitor here some sparks coming out from there. So it looks like they are working. They are cutting. Waiting to see that piece separated.
They'll be able to get here later without getting anything in the wheel.
Well, guys, we're coming up here on 11/15, and it is Mother's Day weekend, and it's also May the 11th. The plan is to have this channel opened by the end of May to the 54 feet deep,
That boat behind us, the stuff behind
whatever the chart calls. I think it's around 54 feet, where they try to maintain the depth of the channel right there through the bridge. We're on the 11th here. The Dali's still here, guys. Dali's still here. Are we going to see that deadline met? What do you guys think? You think they're going to be able to meet the end of May deadline for at least getting that channel cleared, and we could see some shipping return to the Port of Baltimore? It only takes a few days delay with weather to really throw scheduling a loop, or a big loop, on a project like this. What do you guys think? Gorilla, I think you're absolutely right. I think everybody that's out here that puts a hard hat on, straps on a pair of boots, and heads out to this work site is doing all they can do. They're giving everything they can to get the Port of Baltimore opened up. If they get that weight from that span off the ship, will that be enough, you guys think, to float it? Or is the road bed still gonna keep it pinned down? There's a lot of steel making up that road system. There's still 4 lanes of interstate laying across the bow of the ship.
Jerry knows, he's all over this shit.
Yeah, we've seen some of the shallower draft ships make it through. When they got that opened up, when they said by the end of April they were going to get that 35-foot area cleared, they did that. They made that without any. As a matter of fact, they were a week ahead of schedule on that one, if you guys remember. Don John, the group they've assembled here, 6 days ahead of schedule. Hey, good morning, Derek. Thanks for joining us here. Derek from the Food Boat here with us. If you guys have not been over to check out his channel, don't do it close to lunchtime because it's going to make you hungry. Derek and what he does down there with he's got a new one under construction, but he has a barge with a commercial kitchen on it, and he invites chefs out, and they come out and they concoct some of the most delicious seafood dishes you can imagine right there in Charleston, South Carolina. Thanks, Derek, for joining us. You know, I would like to go. I would like to try to push this stream to at least 12:30, maybe longer. But I'm hoping we can make it to 12:30. Let's get at least 3 hours in today, maybe 1 o'clock. Let's see what we can get in before we have to head back to the studio and try to put our 4K telescopic camera video out for you guys to enjoy. If you guys haven't seen that, we try to compress our time out here during the live stream into a 4K extravaganza. Hey, Jeff Oster, thanks for joining us. Jeff is here in the chat, and that's been a question. You know, I know there's a lot of weight still on the bow of the ship. If they get that span off, it looks to me like they're going to lose a good bit of that material that's kind of hanging off the bow in those containers. That looks like that's going into the drink when they do execute this planned demolition charge now set for tomorrow afternoon. Is that going to be enough? And the word we're getting now from our sources is that they're going to try to execute, weather permitting, the demolition tomorrow evening. I think a low tide is set for around 6:18. They want to try to do it as close as they can to low tide. So it looks like, for right now, from what we're understanding, it's going to be tomorrow afternoon. This is a fluid situation. Everything's subject to change. Can they counter flood the stern of the Dali? Yeah, I'm sure they can. Is that going to help the problem? If you're adding weight to the stern, is how much of the stern is grounded? And what's that going to do? I don't know. A lot of questions. Where's the anchor? I know they dropped an anchor. Is the anchor under the ship? That's another point they need to consider. If they start to pull it back and that anchor comes into contact with the hull, it could do a lot of damage to the hull when they're trying to move it. That makes sense, Jeff. That would make a lot of sense. And that way they could get some pretty significant amount of pieces done in a relatively short period of time. It'd be crazy to consider trying to cut through that roadbed with, I'm sure there's concrete that's in there, maybe some asphalt mixed in that as well. The steel frame that's holding all that roadbed together. That seems like that would be the way to go. Isn't this great when we get this input from these people who have these kind of engineering minds here on the channel, and it all kind of comes together. It's awesome. You guys, if you haven't been over to Jeff's channel, that's Jeff Ostroff. If you have not been to his channel, get over there and subscribe to that channel as well. He has laid out so much of this in from a different perspective, and trying and understanding the engineering that's going behind a lot of the decisions that are made out here. His channel covers that. It is an awesome resource. If they can get the Dali refloated and backed up without removing the roadbed, that would certainly be a plus, a positive for the operation. Get it back, get it up enough where they can move it back. I would not expect them to take the ship directly back to port after it's floated. I would think that they would want to work on getting the rest of that debris off the ship before they ever tried to put it alongside the wharf.
Security's inbound for trade point.
Yeah, we're seeing, if you look in the background, you can see a big piece being shifted around. There on one of the barges. You definitely see the block, and we can make out part of the bridge being pulled away there. And maybe they're repositioning that to set it on a barge. We'll have to see what they're going to do with that, but we can definitely see it hanging from the block on that crane that's in the background now. We're still awaiting this piece of the bridge span that is in the center of your image now. They've got it strapped, and we've seen crews cutting on it earlier today. We're waiting to see this piece separated from this part of the span.
For me, I'm moving to the port side a little bit, please. I'll just talk to you, okay?
It definitely looks like they're adding some tension to that piece. I wonder if they're trying to break it loose a little bit. I can't take my eyes off of it right now. I'm just fixed on it. Trying to see if they are in fact are they trying to break it loose?
Excavator barge on the northwest side of the bridge, span 20 to TPA Pier.
Jeff, that's pretty funny. I'm hoping we can get Dr. Macagliano on here and talk a little bit about the contents of those containers and what becomes of that property. Whose property is it now? You know, maritime law is a little different from what you and I typically deal with in our society. Does that property, do the containers and the contents within become property of the salvers? Is it now property of the shipping company? I don't know. Do they unload it and try to continue on with the shipping process, even though insurance is now involved in the contents? I mean, whose is it? Jeff, I didn't see it, I heard it. And you're just going to have to take my word on that. And that's the plan as it is going for right now. Everything's subject to change, very fluid situation. Weather, there could be some weather that moves in tomorrow that precludes the demolition tomorrow. You know, we did see on Unified Command's website the invitation for media to come out to Fort Armistead to get set up between 5 and 5:30. And that was supposed to happen this afternoon, but we haven't seen any notification that that's been now moved to tomorrow with a new time. There has not been any official notification. So we're all in a standby mode, but from what we understand, look for around low tide tomorrow evening. weather permitting. Well, you know, I think that there were some predictions that there were going to be some power grid issues with the solar flares, and I had images on here earlier, guys, of some of our folks from down at home in South Georgia sent some images from last night that they had taken with their cameras set to night mode, and they were fascinating colors. And as we're watching the northern lights kind of dance around in South Georgia, I don't know. Do I need to go get my tinfoil hat on and maybe put an extra layer of foil on it? I don't know. Yeah, we keep waiting to see the NTSB report and what comes out with that. And I expect that when we do see that report, it's going to be, the preliminary report is going to be vague and probably not as thorough as we would want. But I do expect that when the NTSB releases their report, it's going to be done thoroughly. I think that we're going to know all the details that we're hoping to find out will be revealed when that report's finally made. It always seems to take the NTSB a year, at least a year, to compile their complete report. They got so many things to investigate, explore. They want to make sure that they have their T's crossed and their I's dotted. Yeah, I've heard there's a bigger crane pushed up somewhere in the river up in New York somewhere, or New Jersey. And I don't know, I think that from what I've heard, reports on that, it'd be some time before that vessel was restored to operational status. Still waiting here to see if this piece of this bridge span is successfully separated from that part of the debris that's still in the water. We've seen them cutting on it earlier. They have it strapped with the crane, and it looks like they've been working on cutting some more of the bottom support. We're hoping to see that get separated here soon. Was the pilot in charge when the ship struck the bridge? I don't know. I don't know about that one. I think when you look at maritime law, the master of the ship, the captain, is always in charge. While we're waiting, we're just going to kind of pan over and look and see what's going on over at the detonation span. This is where we're expecting to see those charges detonated. And we've seen crews up earlier
I think it's the third one from the
working
south.
on some of these areas where this is supposed to take place. Don't see the main lift up again. It looks like they pulled it down. Maybe they're reloading equipment. We'll keep an eye on them and see what's going on over there. Of course, the Dali. Dali's still here, guys. Still pinned in place with that section of the bridge on its bow. We've been watching this, and it looks like they've gotten the piece that they brought in. Maybe they've gotten it laid back on the crane. That we saw a big piece of that being transported over behind this span. You can see that crane turning now. It's rotating. We're still watching this piece that is rigged and looks like it's ready to be lifted. Looks like they got a little additional cutting to do.
From on your starboard up against the yoke.
Yeah, I think the pilot is more there to advise the ship of where they need to be. The pilot's on there to direct the captain on where the channel is. Now, he's going to tell the helmsman where to steer the ship, what bearings, headings they need to be on, I should say. The ultimate control of the vessel it stays in the hands of the master of the ship, which is the captain. Yeah, we've seen that before. We actually saw that when the Golden Ray went over. The pilot was the one that made the Mayday call. Keep in mind, a lot of these foreign flag ships, English is a second language to a lot of these crew, the guys that are on it. Probably best that the pilot, the guy familiar with the language that's primarily spoken in the region, gets on the radio. We see one of the Don John tugboats backing away there. It looks like they've gotten the barge that's in tow. Now they had a big piece of that of bridge kind of hanging from the crane. You know, it looks like maybe they have dropped it off. And they're moving back. Probably back over to that area on the starboard side of the ship. Looks like 2,700 here with us live from Baltimore. Thanks, guys, for joining us. We're watching crews working on a section of the span of the bridge. They've been cutting on it this morning. They got it strapped. I don't know if they scrambled the F-15s, but the Coast Guard, when the Coast Guard, I know when the Golden Ray rolled over, they scrambled air resources. They had helicopters from Air Station Savannah respond. Those guys were critical in a lot of the rescue operations that took place when that ship capsized. Thanks, Kelly. Kelly's letting us know that they're cutting over on that starboard side. We can't really see what's going on over on the starboard side. The only thing that we can see from over there is there are some cranes over there. The starboard side of the ship's blocked by the ship. It's the span. We're expecting for them to execute the detonation plan on, now scheduled for what we're being told tomorrow afternoon. We're watching action here. We're expecting to see this piece of the span lifted. We can see the crane strapped to it. And we've seen some cutting going on here since we've been live. It looks like we can see more cutting going on. I can see a flash. Are you guys catching that? Can you see that flash? It looks like maybe a torch hitting that part of that steel from those guys in that man lift.
Vessel traffic, Vicky McAllister.
Remind you guys that later on this evening, after we get back, we'll edit this 4K video from the telescopic camera. And we'll have it available for you guys later on the channel. Thanks for joining us here. Well, Viper, I tell you, I want to be here when the first deep draft vessel comes through that channel. Moving the Dali is just not the end of this story at all by any means. I want to be here when we see for sure when we see that first deep draft vessel come back through the channel, and we know that the Port of Baltimore is back on its way to economic recovery. This place is hemorrhaging every day.
Fairly quiet. We got the sisters out and had a call from Mom a little while ago.
It's not just here. This is a global effect.
He was going to bring going to shift who was on standby and then bring.
I do not have the capabilities of streaming 4K on YouTube. I think that resolution is capped at 1080. I may be wrong about that. My equipment won't stream any more than 1080, regardless of what the capabilities are for YouTube. I can upload 4K movies. I'm not sure about the streaming capabilities. I'll have to check on that.
Point was firm.
19. Yeah, I'll probably stay out here after the 8. Sounds good. All right.
3 point. Me with Eric.
I do think that's cutting going on that the beam that's coming down. We got the crane strapped to that piece, and we can see the basket. And I think I saw a couple flashes in there, like maybe they were cutting in there. Jules, do you mean how deep the water is in the channel? It's about 54 feet is what the chart says, and that's a maintained depth, meaning they have to dredge it. There's so much silt that moves down in this area, in this Chesapeake Bay area, that they have to maintain that. It's not a natural occurring harbor maintained depth. They have to maintain it with dredges. And they, from what I think I remember reading on the chart, it's like 54 feet. That's where they want to maintain that that channel. And in particular, in that area of the bridge, as soon as you get out of the bridge, out of the channel, it begins to shallow rather quickly.
Yeah, the seamanship on the tether line at the Dolphin gets an A+.
I will pass it on.
Roger.
Breeze picking up a little bit here at the site. It's light, and it's straight at us now. It's coming right at our cameras. I don't know that they're doing any underwater welding. They have the capability of doing it. The team of divers that they have assembled here is, without doubt, some of the best in the world. And those are skilled folks. If you ask them and hand them the equipment, they can go down and get the job done. I'm not sure that they have any ongoing, but if it becomes necessary, they got the people in place to get it done here in Baltimore. I'm going to show you guys this piece of the span when it's separated. Now we're now committed to seeing this piece go away. We've seen the crews that are working that man lift. They've been up high, they've been down low, and now they're over working on what appears to be a cut along what would be the main top piece of the bridge span. We're watching this with you guys. When we're live from Baltimore, and you're here with the Minorcan Mullet channel, thanks for being a part of it. Tiger is here with us, moderating the channel. We've also gotten memberships now that have been opened up. They're available. Thank you guys for supporting us and what we're trying to do here from Baltimore. The channel has seen some phenomenal growth. Thank you guys so much. If you're here watching the feed with us, consider subscribing to the channel. That is free. It's not going to charge you a thing. Love to have you guys here as part of the Minorcan Navy. Did we reach 34,000? I haven't refreshed the page in a while. Oh my goodness, it looks like we have. Hey, thanks guys. This is all because of you guys here becoming a part of the Minorcan Navy here. I want you guys to be here when it's cut. And maybe the existing spans that are still intact maybe they use those to assist with the construction of a new bridge. You know, bridge construction is, while I've seen it like most of you, and that's outside of the window when I'm passing over a bridge and looking at some new construction that's taking place. But I have seen on bridges that were constructed, our bridge at home going into the Port of Brunswick was kind of that way. Those bridge sections that were there were not taken away from the old bridge until after the new bridge was actually constructed. Mark, thank you so much. Thanks for joining us here. Yeah, we're vested. Joseph, we are vested in the operation, that's for sure. I'm like you guys, I want to see this. We've got 8% left on the camera battery. We may see the screen go black. You guys don't go anywhere. If that happens, I've got a battery. When it happens, it's going to happen. When it happens, I've got a battery ready to go. You know what? We may go ahead and change that right now. May just go ahead and take care of that detail and get it over with. I don't want to miss this. And I certainly don't want you guys to miss it. We've got too much invested in our time today on the channel watching the operation here with this piece of the span. Just like going and getting a shot, guys, this is just going to hurt for a second. We'll keep the audio up. And just like that, we're back in business. Now that wasn't so bad, was it? Right back with you guys. Now we're going to have to reset the zoom. Do you guys let me know? Do you think we should reset the zoom back in, or is this a better image for you guys? We get a little wider view here of what's going on. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments of what you guys want to see. You want us back in tighter, like we were, or would you prefer to be back here? All right, we're going to go. Everybody's saying they want to zoom in a little tighter. We're going to take her back in. It takes me just a second to get you guys back in the chat. We got a little bit of delay, but watch this. We're going to bring it back in. We may even try it a little tighter. We're a little tighter in now, guys. Let me know what that image looks like on your end. The trouble with the digital zoom of this camera is once we get in there, the image starts to degrade. If that's too much, we'll back it back out. Okay, everybody's saying it looks okay. Thanks, JR. Everybody's saying the resolution I get on my end is not as good as what you're getting off of YouTube. You guys have better equipment on the receiving end of what I have here. I can definitely make out the guys shifting around on the man lift. I don't want to leave this if they're getting ready to separate the piece. I don't know how far along we... Is that a kayaker? Is that a kayaker coming across the screen? And it looks like the police are after him. Guy, what are you doing? What are you doing on the kayak out in the sight? Are you kidding me? Did I just see that? Did we just catch that live here on the channel? I think we did. We did. That is a kayak. And now it looks like the Coast Guard is going to pull over and they're going to have a discussion with him about a 2,000-yard safety zone. And not only is he inside the 2,000-yard safety zone, he's not too far away from where they've got a huge chunk of steel being supported by 4 straps on a crane. I think we should just pick him up if I'm with the Coast Guard, we're just going to pull him right on up and just take him back out of the zone. That's got to be a first. That's a first for me at the site here, guys. And you were here with me. Darwin's theory in action right here live on the Minorcan Mullet channel. Let's hope he has a life jacket on at least. Never, ever have I seen this before. It looks like he's motivated now to leave. And he seems to be making pretty good progress. Okay. All right. Dear heavens. I can understand that, you know, the kayaks sit so low in the water, they're hard to detect with the eye, and it's very difficult to pick them up on radar. Guys, don't do that. Don't be like that guy. My goodness. All right, let's get back. Let's see a lift. Yeah, for sure. We're gonna have our 4K video up later on this evening. Still can't believe I saw that. All right, what are our guys got going on right here? Have they repositioned to the outside of the beam? It looks like they have. They got to be getting close to I'm sorry, guys. They got to be getting close to cutting through this. It looks like that's going to be a pretty big piece of steel when it's cut. If we're in fact, they are cutting it, and I can kind of see a line across there now. Maybe where they've been cutting. That's going to be a pretty substantial piece when it's cut. $3,200 of you here with us. For those of you who just joined us, we just saw a kayaker come into frame. They were obviously going out to check out the site. Guys, I can't emphasize how important it is to not do that. Don't get out here. Could you imagine somebody in a kayak like that moving around. You got tugboats that are already, they have vision obscured from the bow of the barges they're pushing, and then something like that getting caught up underneath one, it would be a horrific accident out here. A lot of moving pieces and parts out here. This is not the place. They're thinking tomorrow, from what we've been told, around low tide, which is maybe around 6 o'clock. We're going to be here earlier than that, ready to go. We're waiting for an official word from Unified Command. From what we understand, tomorrow afternoon. That's what we've been hearing. We've been watching a good portion of the morning, crews working to cut this top left-hand piece of the span away from the bridge section that's down, and we're on the opposite pier from where the Dali struck. The control charges will not take place until tomorrow. We won't see that happen until tomorrow, from what we're being told, tomorrow afternoon. And that, yeah, thanks, Ralph. Yeah, weather permitting. They've had a weather delay with, of course, yesterday. Oh, Timmy, thank you so much. Look at that.
To Trade Point Atlantic.
It's been an exciting day. We've seen some firsts down here today. Live from Baltimore, you're here with the Minorcan Mullet channel, and we are watching crews working on cutting away a piece of the bridge span. Now we are opposite from the pier that the Dali struck. We're on the other side of the river, on the north or the east side, if you will, from where the Dali struck. And crews have a piece strapped, and we've been watching them cut on this thing for a good portion of the morning, getting ready to separate it. I thought we'd start off here with about a 3-hour live stream and go to about 12:30. We may be here longer than that. We're going to watch this piece get separated. Like, that's what we do here on the Minorcan Mullet channel. Man, it looks like crews may have backed away a little bit from the cut. No, wait a minute. They're down below it. Okay. Looks like they're still working on it. over 3,400 subscribers now for the channel. Thank you guys so much. You're the reason I'm here, and I thank you guys. I wouldn't be doing this if you guys weren't the driving force behind it. Thank you guys so much. 3,000, over 3,000 of you here with us live from Baltimore. We've been listening to the radio operations today in the background. Just not a lot of radio traffic going on right now. How thick is this I-beam? Well, if you take a look, the two guys that are in the basket, I'm going to guess are close to 6 feet tall. And it looks like it's maybe about as tall as the guys in the basket. Thank you guys, and we're hoping everything goes as planned for the controlled demolition tomorrow. If we don't see a delay, we'll be here with you guys tomorrow. I think there's only one brand of camera to use, and that's Sony. Had a lot of good luck with the Sony equipment. And more importantly, I understand how to use it. John, thanks so much. I don't understand what's going on with that. Maybe we'll try to figure out something for you there. And just so you guys know, the ones that are just joining us here in the chat, we've been watching crews working on cutting a pretty large chunk of the span here. They have it strapped with a crane, and they've been cutting around the area with some torches. Now, we've been watching them do this since we came on live this morning at just after 9:30. They may be getting close to a final cut here. And if they do, we're going to see them swing this piece of steel and lift it. UK's with us. Thanks for joining us. It's Sarah, yeah, the tugs got the ship away from the berth here in Dundalk, and that's a standard procedure here. It had been in Baltimore, where the ships would get going, and then they would turn them loose, and they would head out the bridge. The flaw in the system was obviously revealed when that ship lost power and went over and struck the bridge, and we saw the collapse happen. These older bridges were constructed at a time when they didn't have to follow. After the Skyway Bridge incident down in Tampa in 1979, I think it was 79 or 80, when that Skyway Bridge fell, bridge construction regulations changed, and there is now newer bridges have to have more protection around the base of them to help eliminate the potential of a bridge strike on these bridges that pass over these channelways. Francis Scott Key Bridge was not afforded those protections, and unfortunately, when things shut down on the Dali, the die was cast, and just horrible timing. 6 people lost their lives that were working up on top of the bridge, and the Port of Baltimore has been shut down for the most part since the incident happened. I'm sure that the existing ports, probably the world round now, are reevaluating their vulnerable structures and infrastructures which are and over these areas of these waterways. And maybe we will see a change in the policies and regulations regarding the escorting of ships by tugs through these vulnerable structures. You know, I don't know how long that operator's been on the Chessie, but I can tell you, in talking with some guys that have had big floating derricks, the crews, the guys familiar with those vessels, if they change hands, if they're bought by another operation, usually those guys go with the crane because of the experience, because they know the systems and the operations of these derricks. Usually when that happens, the crew, that's the oilers, the crane operator, the mechanics, that group goes with the crane when they leave.
So you can stand right here and there you can. Oh, look at that. Oh. You can see it right there. Perfect. Thank you.
So did you get to film it? Did you get to film it?
Hey, yeah, we're live right now. We got some folks that are just joining up here with us.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we're live on YouTube right now. So we got some guys that have just come down and they're taking a look at the Dali here from our place.
That's
Good morning.
Over there, right?
That's the ship, Dali.
Oh, yeah. Over there.
And what
It's the battery monster. It doesn't take long. The mic will go down. But we've got batteries. We'll make that change as we need to. Thanks guys for joining us. And also, you guys, when I lose sound like that, be sure to throw it up in the chat, because sometimes I'm not listening to the audio as much as I'm trying to look at the screen, and occasionally I can see the monitor moving, the indicator moving in the monitors that I have sound. Sometimes I get caught up in what's going on. So as we watch the crews reposition again, looks like they're going over the top. And that may be on a timeout. Maybe that was a timeout feature. No, it's going dead again. I'm going to have to change these batteries. These mics eat up some batteries. We're probably going to lose the audio again for just a second while I go back and change some batteries again. We're going to drop the audio out here again for just a second, guys. We'll be right back here with it. All right, guys, hopefully the sound is back with you again. Maybe it's the batteries, I don't know. And yeah, there's a little bit of camera shake when all that takes place, sorry.
Okay, that's the one with stanchions on the other side.
Still watching the crews, and now I think I can actually make out the torch in the in the cutter's hand there. Hopefully you guys are seeing this as well as I am now. Thank y'all so much for being a part of the channel. We've got to be getting close to the separation of this piece, guys. This has been a process, and it takes, if there's one thing about the channel we can highlight, that it takes a little bit of time. All right, the basket looks like it's coming down. Maybe it's coming down for the guys to get out of the way. Let's see if they're able to maybe move that. Either two things are going on. They're moving out of the way, or they've run out of oxygen or acetylene. Let's see what happens. Mark, we're running Sony equipment here. I don't think Kubota Man Dan knows what he's talking about, but that's pretty cool. Thanks for joining us, Kubota. Appreciate it. Thanks, Tiger. Oh my goodness, what's going on here? We have separation. And yeah, that's a big piece of steel they're swinging. Let's watch this pick now. So guys, you stay with us, you're going to get a reward. Thanks for being with us. 3,100 of you live, getting to see this happening now as it's going on here in Baltimore. Now it's, what do you do with it? It's like the dog that chases the car and he finally catches it. What are you going to do with it when you caught it? Thanks so much for you guys being here and being a part of the channel. Look at how big that piece of steel is, guys. You know, some of these big pieces, we've seen them, they'll get them up, they'll kind of swing them, lower them towards the deck of the barge, and then they'll transport the whole barge with that piece still being suspended by the crane. They won't swing it over and lay it on a barge per se, but they'll just transport it back over to the Trade Point Atlantic area over at Sparrows Point, where they'll offload it over there. But we can see him rotating that crane just a little bit. Let's watch and see what happens here. Massive piece of steel. And from that angle, you can really, really appreciate how big that piece of steel is. What a load. And now let's see. You know what's when you got that kind of weight and you're rotating it, there's so many dynamic forces at play on the barge itself. The crane, you know, there's movement in the not only the crane, the sway of the load, but you've also got the barge to factor in as well. These operators that are working these cranes on these floating barges, my hat is off to them. Thank you guys for joining us here. We're again live from Baltimore, where we're watching this big piece of the bridge span has just been cut and swung over by the crane. We can see it's suspended now by the crane, and we're going to watch and see what happens to it. Johannesburg, thanks for joining us. Now keep in mind, we still got crews working over at that span that's still on the Dali. They're still working on getting those charges set over there. All that is still going on. Yeah, maybe we can zoom out a little bit now. They've got that piece up. It's finished cutting. That's a great idea. I'm taking a little direction from you guys, trying to give you guys the best possible experience here. On the channel. Thanks for joining us, guys. There's a little bit of earthquake. And then we get a little bit better image of some of what's going on out here at the site. Crews on the bar there still breaking up debris with that weight, and they're dropping it down in the water to break that up. And we'll see what happens here with this piece of suspended steel that's been removed from the span, now hanging from that crane. I wonder how that kayak would have fared around a crane that's dropping the weight. Right now, I don't see anything moving in that direction. It's possible it's already over there. We just can't tell. It looks like he may be trying to lay it down now. I know we've had the live stream up now for 3 hours. Thank you guys for being a part of it. 3,500 of you here with us. I know a lot of you may be tuning in to check about the scheduled demolition of the span that is still on the Dali. That's been postponed until tomorrow. Right now we are watching a crane wrestle a piece of steel that we just saw them separate from that span that is in the right hand portion of your frame of view, and it looks like they're trying to lay it down on a barge now. I think this is a A7 3R. That's what we're shooting with right now. We've got a few of the other ones in the bag. This is our go-to.
Alright, I gotta pull it all the way out of the canal and shit. Yeah, if you want to, I don't care. Go ahead. If you want to go for a ride, go for it. Yeah, I'll tag along. Alright.
The Dale Pyatt is back over at Trade Point Atlantic over at Sparrows Point. They were out on the site earlier, and then we saw them back away, and they've gone over. It looks like they're probably unloading material that they've been gathering. Thanks, Donna, you're right. Hit that thumbs up. That helps YouTube to understand that there's something going on the channel that people are liking, and they tend to shoot it out to a few more people. The crane on the left is dropping a huge weight, probably anywhere from 2 to 4 tons, down in the water, breaking up the road deck. They'll do this process, and then the Dale Pyatt dredge barge with that huge 60-yard clamshell bucket will come along, and they'll start excavating that material and putting it on the barge. It looks like the straps have come slack on the crane, and that piece of steel is now resting on something. What a massive piece of steel that was. And there you can see, it looks like crew guys on the deck of the barge. They're close to the main block, and you can see, use them for scale to understand the size of what you just saw cut and then placed over on that barge. Every time that weight drops off that crane to the left, you can see the splash come up over the deck. So just to give you guys a little bit of the lay of the land, the structure you're seeing In the background of the image is the Brandon Shores Power Facility here in Baltimore. And we are looking at crews working on some of that debris that's down in the Tapasco River.
Hustle traffic, as a result.
Crews have been here today cutting a piece of steel. And they just set it down on the barge. We're going to pan over and show you guys what's going on over on the other span that is set for demolition. This is the span that is supposed to be going under for demolition. There was a man lift that was up earlier. We think that that man lift had personnel up placing charges. They brought it down. I don't see it in place like it was earlier. But that is that piece that is on the ship, that is coming off of the port side of the Dali. We're expecting now tomorrow afternoon of the span fall away into the water and removed from the ship by gravity following those charges. I don't think we're going to see any cranes or anything attached to any of us. When it's cut, it's just going to fall away and fall right down into the water, and then crews can move in and work on picking that up. So we see in the comments here that it looks like they're saying that there's a man lift going on. Oh yeah, it looks like we can just barely see through the ironwork there, maybe a man lift working, being suspended by one of the cranes here, and people are saying it's the 533. 3,500 of you in here watching. Thank you so much. If you've just come in expecting to see demolition charges being set off, that's not going to happen today. They've postponed it, and from what we understand, that's going to happen tomorrow afternoon. We're planning on being here when that happens. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, do so, and make sure that notification bell is checked to all. Because as soon as we know something, we will let you guys know. We're planning on being here for it.
Back out. I think, I don't know, man. I'm at 6 foot now, so I might back out. I'll just back up towards.
We've seen a little bit of activity going on over the top of the Dali. We saw them move a piece of metal earlier on one of the crane barges. The process continues here to open up the channel coming into Baltimore. Baltimore is still blocked. Limited accessibility for some ships, some shallower draft ships we've seen come through the channelway. Crews are working to restore that 54-foot clearance necessary for some of the larger ships to enter and exit the Port of Baltimore. We've had the stream up for a little over 3 hours now, guys. Thanks for being with us. We know some of you have been with us since we started. Thank you, guys. All right, let's try something right here. Excuse the earthquake. Keep in mind, guys, we're shooting from 1.5 nautical miles away. We're going to try to bring this in a little tighter, so maybe we can get a better image of what's going on that section. And then you can maybe, just maybe, you can make out some of those bands where they have placed those charges. For the scheduled demolition. Hopefully you guys are able to see that a little clearer there. Sometimes when we zoom in like this, we start to lose clarity. I apologize for that, but to get in here and see what's going on the span, sometimes it's necessary. But if you look up going up the main beam going upwards, there are some wraps that are in place. Those are where the charges, some of those charges are being placed. And then they're also being worked in through that lower piece. You can see a couple in there. When they're set off, they're going to be set off to cut this piece, and you're going to see this piece kind of fall away into the water. They'll recover it after it's off the ship. Just much easier. If you're just joining us here, we are live from Baltimore. Live stream's been up since just after 9:30 this morning. We've seen quite a bit of activity taking place already. We're glad you're with us here on the channel. Thank you so much. You guys from time to time are going to see messages from Tiger. I want to thank Tiger for all he does for the channel. Thank you, Tiger. And I'm sure that everyone that's active in this chat appreciates everything you do. Yeah, you can see where those charges down those beams. If you look at the ones that are easiest to see, if you go up the colored banding in those places, those are where the charges are. Yes, the crew from the Dali is still on board. Current time here in Baltimore is 1 p.m., 1300 hours local time here. I keep forgetting that we now have an international audience. Some folks are just rolling out of bed, taking a look to see what's going on in Baltimore. Thanks, guys, for joining us. The stuff we've seen going on today it's been busy, and even though we haven't seen the Chesapeake 1000 here, the Chesapeake is back over at Trade Point. There's been a lot going on, and we've seen some pretty large pieces of the bridge loaded up today. Yeah, Tiger, one of those perks is availability of videos that are made available to members before they're released on the channel. And those 4K videos that are modified, they come up, and we try to add a little bit of the dialogue from the day onto those videos. Those are available to you guys before their official scheduled times. So that's one of the perks here you guys are going to get from the membership. Thanks for the support. Earlier in the day in this area, we saw crews in a man lift working on placements. I haven't seen the man lift up in the area in a while here on this section. Yeah, I don't think we're going to see any, from what we've been told, there will be no demolition today. That's going to be postponed until tomorrow.
Stand by with the original account.
I don't know, Toxicom, why were there no ship horn blastings? I don't know, maybe that horn blasting system requires electrical solenoids to operate, and when they lost power, maybe that system has to recycle and come up just like every other system on the ship. Maybe it wasn't available to them at the time. Let's wait on the NTSB report. All right, we're saying we need to come up a little bit, so let's see what's going on up. Excuse the earthquake, guys. Well, there's the 533. I keep looking for the basket. Are they way up there? Is that where they are? I think that's just a block I'm looking at right there. I don't think that's the basket. I may be mistaken. It's hard for me to tell. Very difficult for me to tell. You guys that are able to get a better image, is the man basket there? Is that what we're looking at, or is that the block? I can't tell. Okay, people are saying, yep, it's up there. We're going to plan on running this stream to about 1:30, and then we're going to be signing off. We've got a couple of errands we have to run today. And then, of course, we got to get back over to the studio and edit that 4K telescopic camera video that you guys will see later on. If you have signed up as one of our members, one of our sailors in the Minorcan Navy, you guys are going to be able to see that a little earlier. Be sure that your notification bell is checked to all. The work continues out at the site, making preparations for the detonation of that span still laying across the Dali. There's been a lot that's happened here today. It's ongoing. We hope you've been with us and been able to catch some of that this morning. What do you guys think the chances of the detonations will go off tomorrow? They are saying there's a possibility there's going to be some weather back in the area tomorrow. what are the chances we are going to see them execute the demolition tomorrow evening? Low tide is, I think that's when they expect to do it. A little bit after 6 tomorrow. Zoe, thank you. I'm glad somebody's in touch with. It is Mother's Day tomorrow, so if we could talk to Mother Nature and see if she can do us that one favor. Doxy, you hadn't been around ships much, have you? That anchor probably drug for a long time in this soft Baltimore mud that makes up the bottom of most of this area. Man, it's so interesting watching these comments, you guys. Thanks for joining us, guys. Haven't heard a lot going on the radio today. It's been relatively quiet. We've seen a good bit of stuff going on, but it's been quiet. It's kind of been the thing on Saturday where they have a little downtime. I think out here at the site. Weather conditions today vastly improved from what we were experiencing yesterday here in Baltimore. Rain finally moved out. The sun came out, and we're seeing a little bit of cloud build back to the west. And there is some rain that is forecast for later tonight, maybe earlier tomorrow, with hopefully clearing conditions by tomorrow afternoon. That's what we saw on our forecast for tomorrow when we checked it earlier today. We have not checked it lately, but that's what the weatherman was telling us for a forecast earlier today. So thankful to have you guys here with us. The reason I'm here is because of you guys. Thanks so much. 2,500 of you here still with us. Greg, that's now been postponed until tomorrow, expecting that detonation to take place tomorrow afternoon. If you haven't yet done it, subscribe to the channel and make sure your notification bell is checked, because as soon as we find out, we're going to let you guys know, probably on the community tab. You'll get that notification. or when they tell us, you guys are going to know. John, thank you. Isn't there always a 50% chance of rain? I mean, no, seriously, isn't there always a 50% chance of rain? It either will or it won't, right? Hopefully not. It looks like sound's still coming through. Tara, I hope that you're still getting me. It looks like it's still coming through. You know, if weather conditions are right, we'll probably be out here again early. Go for a live stream like we've been doing. And then maybe take a break and then come back to be with you guys in the afternoon. I think that is a fair amount of time. And I think that's something we can manage. Thank you so much, guys, for being here. 2,300 of you. As we're coming up on closing out the stream, we're going to do that in about 15 minutes. And we're still watching the trestle. I shouldn't say trestle, it's a span. I've been corrected by that many times. It's a span of the bridge, and we can see the bands there very plainly where those charges have been placed. Still some additional work to do before they're ready to detonate those charges. And then when that happens, we're going to see that span fall away into the water. You definitely can see now two guys coming down, a couple guys coming down in a basket off of the Weeks 533. What amazing view those guys have to have from that basket, from that vantage point.
Stop on a Vicky Ludra. All done.
And it looks like they brought them on down. Out of sight. We say we just kind of scan around the site right here and just take a look. There's that big piece of steel that we saw them swing off that section of the span earlier. Rest of the site that way looks pretty vacant. Not much going on there. Ship's still in place where it's going to be until they can get that span cut away. Hopefully we are going to see that happen tomorrow. I think we still see that van. Everybody's worried about the van. Let's see if we can zoom in on the van. Are you guys able to see that now? That's the van that people have been really worried about. It seems to be a bother. I think what that is a relay for data. I think that's what they've done here to help out these guys be able to have necessary communications, working around the site. A lot of this equipment needs bandwidth, internet bandwidth to operate. That might be the most efficient way to get it. Just a theory. That I have. Guys, 2,400 of you still here with us. Thanks so much. We're coming up on about 6 minutes left here with the live stream, and we'll be terminating it today. Virtual, thanks for being here with us. No demolition occurring today. It's been postponed at the earliest tomorrow. And if the weather behaves, we'll get to see it here on the channel tomorrow afternoon. We're going to be back with you guys again in the morning at about 10 o'clock, maybe earlier. Be sure to subscribe and make sure that notification bell is set to all so you'll get the notification and know when we're live. But we will be here and hopefully be able to get that demolition, if it goes off as it has been told to us that it should tomorrow afternoon, sometime around low tide, which is about 6:13, 6:15 tomorrow. It may be earlier, it may be a little later. They gave low tide as the time they wanted to try to make that happen. Tomorrow is Mother's Day. It's Mother's Day weekend. Make it a whole weekend for Mom. Get out there and enjoy the whole thing. If you haven't done it, be sure to give Mom a call.
I'll send my man. Thank you.
Again, thanks to Tiger. Tiger makes a good bit of this happen, guys. I don't think you guys realize just what an important part he plays. Thanks, Tiger, for what all that you do here with the channel. You guys that are here, it means a lot to me to see you guys here and invest in your time with the channel. We hope you guys are enjoying the video images we're able to stream to you, and then maybe a little bit of the audio. We certainly enjoy the engagement and sitting here and listening and watching, I should say, the chat as it unfolds with you guys. And it's this Minorcan Navy that steps up, and a lot of times they bring things to the table for discussion that are truly amazing, and they certainly help out the broadcast. I can tell you this is an awesome collaboration that I have with you guys here with us. Thank you so much for everything you guys do. When we have the kind of response we see here, especially with these live streams and from what we're doing here, it really, really makes me understand that what we're doing here is important to you guys. And I know we're recording history. This is part of something hopefully we will never see again in our lifetimes. Hopefully never see again. But the history aspect of what's going on here is more than we could ignore. And we had to come up and stream this. Thank you guys for being here with us.
Passing Dundalk, and we need to get to TPA and like to pass through either Fort Carroll Channel or the main Fort McHenry Channel.
One, and we got steaks over here for you guys. You want to eat? All right, we'll see you in a few minutes. We're on 7-1 now, all right?
Well, guys, I think that's going to do it. I think we're going to go ahead and end it. Now, thanks again for joining us. Look forward to seeing you guys again tomorrow. And as soon as we hear something about any definites on the demolition, we'll be sure to let you guys know. Thanks again, Tiger, for all you do. Teresa, I know Teresa stepped out, but we certainly appreciate her time and efforts here too. Thanks again, guys. And as always, hey, we want to say you guys be safe out there.